Welcome to the Datacloud Spotlight interviews. Today we're going to be talking about data center sustainability, and that's why we're welcoming Harry Thompson, who's energy systems transformation expert at Siemens Energy. Thank you for joining us, Harry.
It's good to be here. Thank you, Bill.
Great. What are the core challenges, in your opinion, to reducing data center emissions?
So I think data centers are kind of locked in a bit of a difficult situation. They're historically, as has been the norm, they have a grid power supply with diesel generators for backup, and that doesn't really give them any kind of flexibility in an ability to kind of reduce their emissions as things change in the market. They have to follow the ambition of their local grid suppliers, especially in cases where there's no 24/7 green PPA power purchase agreement available. This means that very much it's out of their hands. It's not wrong the way that they've gone. It's the very logical. I would have done the same thing. They've installed diesel generators to match the modular build schedule of their ramp up, but that's a very much like a one-time impact that they've kind of gone down that route. If you were building a data center today, I think, as is kind of maybe obvious with the things that are happening with with Ukraine driving prices up and the real drive to reduce emissions, I think there needs to be a lot more focus on the emissions of the future, the operating of the future. I feel that data centers are kind of asking for not just a redundancy against power loss today, they're also asking for like a triple factor redundancy. They want redundancy against power loss, against emissions rises, and against price rises. So yeah, that triple factor redundancy, we at Siemens Energy feel that gas turbines can offer that. If you have an existing diesel generator set, it's not very good as an alternative power source. It's great as a backup, but it doesn't offer you the fuel flexibility that, say, a gas turbine installation could. Gas turbines have the ability to run on biofuels like HVO 100, but they also can run on hydrogen and various other kind of like hydrogen carriers such as like ammonia and ethanol. So there's a clear path going forwards with those for reaching this kind of like future where we want to be operating on green fuels. But yeah, as I say, I think the challenge for data centers is that if they continue doing what they've always done, they're going to find it harder and harder to kind of to operate and reduce emissions.
So given the increased prominence of Scope 3 emission reduction as well, how is the industry collaborating to meet the climate goals that are required?
Yeah, so Scope 3 emissions, they're not just that target isn't just for like data centers. Like it's a target that Siemens Energy wants to own as well. We have this tagline: honestly, we can't do it alone. So we're very much aware of that. We're working towards it. We've got a commitment to reduce our emissions by 30% by 2030, and that's in line with the Paris Climate Agreement. So yeah, we're working towards that, and we're very much aware that it's not something that we can do on our own. We have a lot of collaboration with our partners, and together we're trying to sort of reduce this. One of the kind of interesting kind of Scope 3 emissions that I'd like to point out is around the power density of gas turbines. We feel those are particularly good for Scope 3 because they require a lot less sort of steel compared to like similar reciprocating engines in the same sort of power classes. So that's one kind of that's one area where we feel that we can have like a positive impact on those Scope 3 emissions.
So we spoke about balancing that triple aspect of cost, sustainability, and security of supply.
Yeah.
How are data centers managing this at the moment, and how do you see the future prospects in that regard?
The ideal situation for a data center is a green PPA, because that's simple and it gets the job done. But those aren't available, or if they're available, they're not available 24/7. So they've kind of got to look elsewhere for that. Um, with with an existing diesel engine, you don't really have the opportunity to kind of, if if you have a grid connection and a diesel backup, if the prices go up, um, or the emissions on the grid go up because there's high demand and all the slightly less clean technologies are filling the gap, switching over to your diesel backup isn't such a, it doesn't offer you any kind of benefit, so that's why they don't do it. um, but we think that with, gas turbines, with hydrogen fuel cells and battery storage, there are other ways of kind of like managing that situation. With regards to like the cost and cost against sustainability, we recognize that, new technology is expensive, and that's why a lot of the sustainable energy products have been more expensive, because they're a new technology. But we've also seen the trends with things like the wind and the solar, where over the last 20 years, the price has been sort of coming down. So we, we it would be reasonable to expect that a similar thing would happen in the market as large data centers start switching to these alternative energy sources, these triple factor redundant energy sources, um, because it's going to bring the price down. The more it becomes the industry norm, the more it becomes um, more affordable. Um, One other thing to sort of note is that, we're always working to help our customers reduce um, their costs, make energy more affordable and sustainable. We have various like upgrade programs that we're constantly working to improve our products. An example of this would be the 3D printed burners that we do for our gas turbines. So we take the customer's existing burner, we take off the damaged component, the part that's been worn down through use, as expected, and then we can 3D print on a new burner on like the tips of the burner. We can 3D print them in metal on, and then send it back to the customer. It's a lot more sustainable, but it also allows us to kind of do like initiate any upgrades that's then compatible with their existing equipment. So yeah, we feel that we're working with customers to try and achieve that balance between sustainability, reliability of supply, and cost.
Could you give a case study of how Siemens Energy has helped a client improve sustainability in their data center?
Yeah. Well, we do have a solution that was implemented for a product in for a project in Europe, um, and we've actually been nominated for a Technology Innovation Award at this year's Datacloud Global Awards. Unfortunately, I can't quite share that information just yet. But if you come and visit us at our booth in Monaco, I'd be happy to go through the details with you.
So the final question is, how did you get into what you're doing? What brought you into the kind of area you're working in now?
I work as a regional transformation expert for Siemens Energy. I'm an energy system designer, analyzer, and optimizer. So what that means is I work with customers to solve their kind of energy problem. I look at their energy system, the mechanical, thermal, or electrical needs that they have, and I look at the kind of various technologies that are available, and what they already have installed, and try and work out the step forward to enable them to get to their kind of goals. So um, we develop a solution that not only meets their goal, but also is something that's achievable, and they can like take it in steps to kind of get to where they want to be. So we do the technical design, but also the economical analysis. Um, and yeah, so I get to work with customers, and that's how I kind of got into this kind of data center sector, because data centers, they have energy needs, they have cooling needs, um, and they have a lot of other kind of like interesting requirements that require some careful thought and consideration to kind of get the right solution. And so I really enjoy working side by side with customers, um, to find something that helps improve their, like, meets their financial goals, but also does something for this climate problem that we're trying to tackle as well. So yeah, it feels good to make a difference.